Welcome to the All Things BMX show. Chris isn't ready.
No,
Look at him. He's not ready, ladies and gentlemen. But we are ready for a heater tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a big one on deck for you. Episode 216, the Racing Ecuadorian is going to be hanging out with Emilio Falla is going to be hanging out with us. I don't have enough time to list his accomplishments, so I'll give you two. He's been in the Olympics twice. How about that, Chris?
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Well,
how many times?
Actually, 3. According to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia said 3?
Yeah.
You know who's going to answer that question for us?
Our guest.
That was a teaser, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll find out in a few minutes.
We'll find out. This guy's got more pull than a rhinoceros sitting on a seized-up Briggs and Stratton riding mower. I'm telling you, it's going to be happening tonight. The ATB crew is coming to you live from the Ethan Clark Studios.
All right.
Here.
We're ready to rock.
In Heartland, Michigan. And we're brought to you by the good people at Motor City Harley-Davidson. It's they got a big thing going on this weekend.
Yeah, they're doing I guess it's like a ride out, the equivalent of a BMX ride out, and something to do with free ice cream cones. And
let's talk about the big thing that's going on, though.
What's that?
Beach party bike night.
Is that what it? Oh,
and a bikini contest. You got to go defend your champion.
Oh, come on.
There you go, man.
I'm good.
You guys head on over this weekend to Motor City Harley-Davidson in Farmington Hills, Michigan. You can enter to win your own 2024 Sportster Nightster.
Oh.
Bro, would you bring the mullet back if you won that?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Free motorcycle?
If you win that, you'd bring the mullet back?
I'd have to do something. I'm sure. Yeah.
I think that just transitioned into our breaking news by Ghetto Wear that brings you the news decks each and every week. If Chris wins the bikini contest, he's going to bring the motorcycle. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, they don't want me anywhere near the bikini contest.
But you're the reigning champion is what I heard.
You heard wrong, dude. You heard really wrong, man.
Oh, man. Hey, our show doesn't happen each and every week without the support of the following sponsors and supporters. The Hack Shack, our good friend Mike Melvin out in California building those side hacks, man, for all the throwback events coming up, man. He's been busy.
Yeah, and like we say every week, if you have a bike and you want a side hack to fit it, Mike can make that happen. He'll just customize that thing out so it fits whatever frame you got.
And our good friend Wrenchman Wheel Builds. He just put in the chat.
Yeah?
The wheels showed up today, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, did they?
My second.
The cruisers?
The cruiser wheels showed up.
Gate 9 rims?
You want to know what kind of bro deal I get? I get free high fives, and he's delivering them to Marysville for me.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's the only reason I'm going down there is to go hang out with him.
Shoot. All right.
We all know I don't race nationals.
You guys going to Marysville, Ohio this weekend for USA BMX National. Make sure you find Justin and say hi. He'll probably be hanging around the Gate 9 pit area.
Yeah.
So make sure you stop by and say hi to Justin and Melissa.
Yeah, and get over to Wrenchman Wheel Builds, man.
Wheel Builds, yeah.
He's going to have his stuff there. Say hi to him.
Yeah, say hi to Zach.
Let us know if you're working or you're going to have your tent there. Also helping the show out each and every week is BMX Race Supply. They got free shipping on any order, $49.99 or over. That's another vet pro that does the show, hangs out with us, supports the show. Mega Design Group, always helping us out.
Dude.
DB Sports, 110 Nutrition. And if you guys are going to order from 110 Nutrition, and I think, is there 40% deal over?
I think so. I think that was a very limited thing.
Very limited.
But they do have some new stuff I haven't seen before.
Really?
I think they have a pre-workout that's like apple bubblegum flavor or something. I saw
that stuff
today.
make you feel colors?
It could. I mean,
I
it's
did two.
bright
I did 2
green.
scoops one time and felt colors.
Really?
At the gym. Yep.
Woo.
Sure did. You guys can use
That
our
must be
discount.
the stimulant.
Yeah.
The one with the
Yeah.
stimulant in it.
Stimulant?
Yeah.
Stimulation?
Whatever.
We'll get there. Don't worry, buddy. It's going to be a fun ride tonight. Use our discount code AllThingsBMX. You save 10%, and it helps the show.
Yep.
All of the links for the show can be found in our show notes once we're done, and we post them to the gram, and we post them on social media and also to the podcast. Melissa's off this evening.
Yep.
This is a big day for her.
Yeah, first day of school.
First day of school. Not for Melissa, though.
No. I didn't mean it that way. But, first day of school for the kids out here in Heartland. So, so her daughter's first day was today. A lot going on. We got DVS hanging out back at the Gate 9
back there, holding
producer's perch.
You know, did you see his new attire?
What's he got on?
He's got Zach's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Sweet.
We know how to plug.
Speaking of, also Danger Snacks brings us our guest tonight. So Emilio Falla is going to be brought to you by Danger Snacks. It's this snack that is the difference between dragon ass and Holland ass.
He said it.
I know. Hey, they're a sponsor.
What's the discount code, Chris?
So if you go to dangersnacks.com and order your Danger Snacks and you use the discount code SHITSHOW, you will get...
Too.
Well, we did hit 1,000 subscribers a couple of weeks
evidently,
ago.
just the wheels are off.
Thanks to Billy at Gate 9 and Rick Carter at Beer Budget BMX. So that happened. But, hey, we can always use more subscribers to this thing we got going on here. We really could because it helps the show and it helps us bring the show to you. So please like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff, please. With that, we're going to go to our chat question of the evening, sponsored by BMX Rocks Photography.
We got to wish her.
Yeah. We want Roxanne from BMX Rocks Photography just had her appendix out.
Yeah. Get well soon.
So she's resting up. She could use a couple of good vibes sent her way and prayers, that type of thing. So if that's your deal, please do that. So our question in the chat tonight is, who is your favorite person to ride with?
Who do you like to ride with, Chris?
JT. It's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hang out. Shoot, we hang out at the track almost all the time.
Yeah, we're there a lot.
Last week?
Pretty much every week, man.
Yeah.
Actually, last week I was off.
Oh, that's true.
I did some couch
you had to...
surfing.
You did what?
Couch surfing.
Couch surfing?
I don't know if you've done that or not. It's where you surf from couch to couch to couch.
No. I guess
You're
not.
just making sure it doesn't move. That's all I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to work, so I just...
Yeah.
Took it easy. You know what I did? I prepped for the Marysville National that I'm not going to race at. That's what I did. It was good. I did the mixed open show, and my kidney punched my liver the next morning, Chris.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, it was rough.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a good time, though. You
guys go back and watch that show on the YouTube on the replay there.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
That. So
I will not cut the cheese. I like
please.
riding with you and man, I'm telling you, I really have the most fun riding with anyone that is having fun. I know that's a cheese answer.
Yeah, but it's true.
No, for real.
I mean, if you're enjoying it and having fun, that's what makes it fun for everybody around you, really.
Yeah. Like everything from like ride outs, like those are great. Like Thursday nights we do one where we dodge bullets in Flint.
Up in Flint?
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet. I'm going to have to get in on that.
I got you a level 3 flak vest to wear.
Okay. That'll help.
With 19 beer holders in the front.
I thought those were for magazines.
They are. Without further ado, we'd love to welcome to our show this evening our guest, Emilio. How are you this evening?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I've been seeing the show for a while. Just got back from work, so actually traffic was crazy today. So I'm happy to be in time, because usually they know me for not being in time for anything. So I'm excited to be here and just talk a little bit about BMX.
Well, we appreciate you taking time, and the next time you're on, we're going to get you a free pass out of work 2 hours early, because we understand California traffic, from Bill, and we want to thank Bill. By the way, we first and foremost thanks Bill for the support of the show, and Emilio.
Bill who?
From
Bill Holman.
Holman from Bassett.
And
Technique. Those bad boys right there. I got to set it up.
These puppies.
Oh, the ones I've tried are here because they got a little wear on them. But I'm telling you, here's a shameless plug, and you can speak to these later if you'd like. The best flat pedals I've rode ever, right there.
I don't know if you can see that.
That is true. That is true. I remember I gave him to Nick Long last year in Kentucky when we were done racing, and he rides flats every day. So hey, just give him a try. I was flying from there to Aruba, and I was just taking some flat pedals. I was like, just try them, see if you like them. I mean, who better than him that he actually races with flat pedals? And he hit me up like probably 2 weeks after, and he's like, hey, I need the contact of whoever owns these pedals. So then Bill and him started like being in contact, and he reps them and uses every day.
Yep. And
these things are sweet.
They're legit. Yeah.
They were pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we like to ask this question to every guest on the show. How did you find the sport of BMX racing?
Well, I'm the third one in the family, and I was the pretty active kid. And my mom says that one day she had enough with me, and then she left it. She drove to my dad's office, and she left me with him, and she's like, "Hey, here's your kid." And then he closed his office, and then he took me to. There was a BMX track right across his office, and he took me over there to just watch. The everybody practicing and riding. And I remember I told him, and I still have like this images where I saw like this huge hill, and they were jumping something that for me at that age was like really big jumps, but it was nothing, you know. So it was just BMX was probably getting started as well. So I just fell in love with it. I just told him, hey, I wanna do this. And he's like, well, you're going to do it when you're older. And I was like, well, I want to be older now. And then I was 3 years old. So he gave me, Christmas was coming up, and he gave me Christmas present as a bicycle. And I picked it up pretty quick. And then I just started, you know, that track was no longer, next year was no longer over there in front of his office. It was a new one. And I just started from there, you know. I started just riding bicycles. And that's how I fell in love with the sport.
Amazing. How long have you been riding a BMX bike?
Oh man, I mean, 38. I started at, it's gonna be like 34 years old. 34 years.
Okay. 34 years.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Did you just say you're 38?
I'm 38. So I learned riding a bike before I ever read. So yeah.
This is what you know, isn't it? Like that's it. BMX.
Yeah. I you know what I tell everybody, you know, I think everybody's born with a gift. And I mean, I was a pretty active kid. My mom always said she's a teacher. So she always kind of like understood. And she was like, you were always really coordinated, more active than everybody my brother and my sister. And I was more into playing outdoor sports. So BMX was something that it was fairly new, but we never knew where it was going to take me at the end of the day. Like when I was a kid, I did soccer, I did track and field, and I did BMX, and I did tennis. But I just liked sport. Eventually, you know, I just pursued it into a more professional side. But I think when I started, I had like this chromoly bike. This guy who built it into. He'll look at you and he'll say like, okay, this is the size of the bike that I'm gonna build for you. And then he was crazy, and it was so fun because he'll call my dad and say, hey, I have an idea to make this bike lighter, and he'll drill holes all over the bike to make it lighter. And I have a picture of that in my parents' house. And then they took me eventually to my first international race. My dad tells that it was more of a sightseeing trip for them. We went to Venezuela for a Pan American Championship, and they just like, yeah, let's take Emilio to race, and I ended up winning. And then a dad of a kid who was a world champion is like, hey, your son's pretty good, but you gotta give him like a proper bike. And that's when he bought me T-Lite, a titanium bike. That was back in the day. I was like, the sizes were M1, M2, M3. Sometimes I got the M1, and then after that we went to Worlds, and I was the first Ecuadorian world champion in BMX. So started pretty quick.
How old were you at that point?
6.
Wow, you definitely moved quick.
Yeah, it was quick. I definitely, like I said, it was, you know, when I won it, I can see some videos, and I didn't even knew what I was winning at. For me, you can see that they lined me up after like the first place, and you can see that I wanted to leave, and everybody was hugging my dad and me, but I had no idea the extent of the size of the event that I won. Because if I'm not mistaken, I was the first Ecuadorian world champion in any discipline. Then like 6 months after, it was a guy who won it on speed walking. So, you know, they gave me certain awards, and I was just a little kid. So I was just getting these awards of best athlete of the year, but I was like a 6-year-old. And then you had soccer players that were grown-ups, and speed walking guy, and other, you know. So yeah, I started super young into like, getting great results, but like I said, not even my mom, my dad, or myself we knew where this was gonna head.
Yeah.
Wow.
So transitioning like at 6, got somebody that's like, hey, you need a better bike that's gonna fit. You're winning. Like, give us that timeline of how we ended up you know, where you don't have to go all the way where we're at right now, because we're going to stop and interject and have questions. But, you know, just kind of take us along the ride of you from that 6-year-old kid that this guy's going to make a bike for you.
Well, I have, like, the thing is, like, memories of when I was 6-year-old.
Yeah.
I honestly remember, you know, I remember the shop where this guy was building the bikes. I remember he was painted the bikes. I remember he used to do it for everybody that was BMX. So that's where we knew, like, you know, when you started that, my dad was like, hey, you got to go to this guy. And this guy was the guy who, like, will be, maybe he saw something that they were making here in the States, and they'll just, you know, oh, they're doing this, and I'm going to do the bikes like this. Eventually, like, how it basically happened, it was just like my dad really got involved into being part of the BMX commission and the traveling and all that stuff and the events. So I was more, he says now, I don't know if at that time he actually thought that I was going to win any race. He says that it was more of going out, traveling, and me racing and having fun, which I think that's the most important thing. But I definitely, I remember, like, the World Championship in 92, it was in Brazil. I remember I lost balance in my first moto, and I didn't go. And I remember my dad just you gotta go, because I was mad at the guy that started that he didn't wait for me, because I was a kid, you know, who lost balance. I was waiting for him to pass the voice cadence, and he didn't do it. And I just, like, was sitting, and my dad was like, I still remember, like, jumping, like, go, go, go. And then I have to share this video, but I remember, like, after that, I won the worlds without doing, like, balance. I had my foot down. And my dad told me, like, the next round you're just doing it like this. So I would just maybe start not even first, and I'd like after the 30 foot I'll be in first. It was a super long track. I don't think right now we'll be able to finish that track. I mean, there was so much pedaling into that track and not that many jumps. And yeah, I remember the award ceremony as well. The award ceremony, I was sleeping, and I remember waking up, and you had, like, all the carnival girls. You know, I've seen, like, in February how, like, they have the street of Brazil that they dance, like the girls that dance all over. I remember the girls just dancing, and I was getting the award, like, probably, like, just I was waking up because I was 6-year-old. And then once we got back, I think my parents always like, that was the goal. Eventually was, you're gonna go next year and try to win worlds again. That was basically what kept me in the sport, I think, because I was a national champion. I used to win a lot, but what every time will keep my hunger, what I was hungry to just go again and win worlds the next year or the next year. And then that was, like, the ultimate goal every time.
Okay. So is BMX a big thing in Ecuador? Was that when you were younger, did a lot of kids do that, or is there a lot of tracks there?
I think at that time it was only one track in my city. It was fairly new, like I said, and it got big. Maybe I want to say nationals had a lot of riders. When I was, it picked up and it went away. You know, a lot had to go with, for sure, economics. You know, it's a third world country, so for getting bikes and all that stuff, you had to import them from the States to keep your kids motivated. You know, we didn't have a national league that's such a big, you know, like here in the States where you have, like, there's, like, I don't know how many nationals you have in a year, and then over there it's just 7 national stops, and then you get the national overall. So there's not much racing. So, you know, for the kid who was only racing in Ecuador, and let's say he wins the national, and then he doesn't have the possibilities to race overseas and stuff like that, it's just gonna be a point where, you know, they lose motivation. You know, I think I was lucky enough, and if you see most of the foreigners of South America, we come here racing since we were kids. We were lucky to have the possibility to come here and race, because we can see something else, and we can come here and then have that competitive level, and then race and see something else that it's just not only in Ecuador or in Colombia or in Brazil or in Argentina. You know, it's a way of just, like, coming here, proving yourself, maybe finding a team. At that time, never in my mind was, like, finding a team. It was more, my dad had this idea of me to win the worlds again. Winning in Ecuador wasn't enough, so I had to go and he'll bring me over here to the States and see where I was here in the USA field, and then we'll go to Worlds. We'll go back, we'll adjust, we'll see how I'm doing, and then we'll see where I was going to be at the Worlds. Because the ultimate goal was always going to be Worlds. So I want to say the biggest national of rider accounts that I know that we've had, maybe it's 580 riders, riders. It's go up and it's gone up and gone down, so it's 580 and riders that they race, like that doesn't mean that who practices. I guess practicing is way more. Okay. But I think I want to say Olympics, since it became an Olympic sport, maybe it's grown a little bit more, not like in a huge extent, and not like like Colombia. I compare our country to Colombia a lot. You see how Colombia has like maybe 1,000 riders, 1,200 riders in the national, and they're doing well. I mean, Mariana and Carlos and then some other riders have picked it up, and they also have a more friendlier way to get products and bicycles as well. That also supports a lot. Okay, to have so more
it's
products.
Easier for them to get bikes and that type of.
Yeah, okay. and different prices. Like you can have like super, just to start a bike, like an affordable bike, and then eventually get your kid a better bike and upgrade the parts.
So
sure.
When you're talking like, hey man, I'm racing, a national in my country, and you're winning a national from your country, and your dad's like, we got to go to the Worlds. That's a huge jump, right?
It is, but you know what? When I was racing Worlds, the kid who probably will come from the U.S. was maybe not even the number one in the States. It was maybe number 5, and they had maybe the parents, because I get it now. It's more expensive to be the national champion in the United States than being the world champion, because to be the number 1, you got to be in a lot of nationals and be leading. You got to be doing a lot of nationals to be on top. And that goes into back in the day when I was doing some of the kids that I used to race, they were doing ABA and NBL. You had both. So that was even more racing.
Okay.
So I would go back. I remember, having a world plate here in the States will be like a target. I remember coming back with the world plate because I was world number 1, and then I think I crashed like 5 times in world 8 and 2 times world 6 and world 4. So I got a few world plates, and I remember I used to come here and I would maybe recognize the kid that raced with me at Worlds that was world 5, and I would see like maybe 3 kids that were way faster than him here in the States. So that would open a little bit your eyes, saying, there's faster kids, and not even that. Me when I grew up, we were Worlds. UCI was more linked to the NBL, so I will do more NBL nationals.
Okay.
I still remember the first time I did an ABA race. First of all, the gate cadence was completely different. The tracks are different.
Yep.
And then you raced with your age at that time. And I still remember, I think I did the first ABA race I did was in Canada, and it was a Worlds. I did Worlds in Canada, UCI. I crashed coming second with the Colombian guy. We were second, third, so I ended up getting World 8. And then we went to the ABA Worlds driving. It was like probably a week after, and I've never, I got quartered. I was not even close to making the main. That for me, that was like the biggest wide opening of like the difference of ABA and NBL a little bit. Besides that, I was racing, let's say, kids. At that age, my birthday is in June, so having somebody that's probably older than me that turns in December. So, but let's say in Worlds, you will not be racing with me in the UCI, but at ABA, you'll race with the age that you have.
Right.
So I had a hard time understanding. That was the first time I ever had I was exposed. And that was for a lot of us at Worlds at UCI that we decided to stay. The tracks were different. The gate cadence was different. The level was way different, and I remember after that, I started coming here a little bit to do more ABA. And I think I did it. That was like I was a kid. Luckily, I've always spoken English, so I was a kid that I was not afraid of seeing somebody in staging and asking what gear was he on. If I see like a competition or something like that, I will. And I remember like I raced with Paul Lane national, and we were 16 maybe, and I got second every day, but he got first with. So, I mean, he had such a big league, and I remember asking him, I couldn't understand how him being the same age could have such a big advantage with myself. And it never happened to me. And I remember that he used to tell me that he was riding his freestyle gear, which was a 12 on the back and something else.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, my mind was just like, but he was a bigger kid. You can tell that he was training way more than I was physically and everything. I mean, he transitioned to BAA maybe like a few months after. So, but there was a big difference. And then I started doing a little bit more ABA to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got second in national, but most of the times I was a kid that I used to come here and race nationals and either win or if I battled to get second or first. But I mean, I had no chance to even get first. I mean, I was second every day, third and fourth with the other guys, but he was like in such a big league. And then I saw that was the first time maybe that I saw Mike Day, that he used to ride for Stats. I think it was Josh Oily. He was riding for Stats. Some new names, you know, that you didn't see that much in the NBL. So it was fun. It was fun seeing everything like that, and that was a national Prunendale, something like that was back in the day. That's I want to say that was the name.
That was a staple stop, for sure. So you had said, you know, I geared up, I got ready to go to a national, like, you know, you say that, and I think like, all right, some of us this weekend in the Midwest, we're gearing up, getting ready to go to a national, and it's, you know, 3 hours, 6 hours, but you're talking about leaving your country to go to, like you said earlier, you know, when you had the ABA
or an NBL.
You know, what did that look like for you? You know, to like, man, you're going to leave your country. When we were talking during the Worlds to some people that made the trip and things like that, but like break down how that was for you and what you did to prepare for that, and maybe even pack, you know, the difference between, and you know this now, like, cause you've moved here, you know, just across or half across the country trek to, like, you left your country to come here and race.
Well, excitement for sure. Like I remember when I was a kid, I mean, my dad told me like, okay, 2 weeks we're leaving. I just like, those days were the longest until we actually get on the trip. And it was always holidays, you know? So that's something that, I mean, I don't know how my mom dealt with it, you know? Cause if you think about holidays, let's go like Eastern, we were coming here to race. Christmas, we did the Christmas Classic. So that means sometimes I was getting on a plane on the 25th of December. I mean, I don't think, now that I'm a dad, I don't know, and married, I don't know if my wife will be happy if I'm like leaving the 25th of December on a trip with just one kid. Because it wasn't that my mom and my other, you know, my brother and my sister were coming. It was just me and him. Yeah. So we spent a lot of, you know, on the holidays just traveling. It was a lot of excitement for sure. You know, it's just something as a kid you looked up to. And then I kind of knew, you know, those. So Eastern Classic was for sure like the Florida races. You got like the Gator National, and there was two back to back that we used to come and do.
Easter weekend. Yeah.
Yes.
Spring break.
And then I used to do the Kentucky and NBL. That also because it was in vacations for us, like the summer vacations for us. Yep. And then I used to do the Christmas Classic. And maybe, and that was maybe that was it. I think those three. But then I had to do. It was just exciting. Like my dad was. I mean, I don't for sure. I didn't do anything with the bicycles. Like my dad did everything. Packing as well. I don't recall doing any packing, anything like that. It was just more the excitement of racing here in the United States. For sure, there was. I didn't know anybody. That was a cool thing either, you know, because when you go to race worlds, you will see the motor shoot and you will try to find where's the W's, like the world plates that we were racing outside of different countries. But here in the States, where you'd be surprised if I would go from, maybe it was funny because I would see the kid if he had a really cool bike and a cool gear setup. I'm like, oh, for sure the kid's fast. So my eyes will be in practice just trying to see if that, you know, that kid's fast because he has a cool gear, has a cool bicycle, you know, the setup looking at it. Sometimes I'll be surprised that he's not, you know, he wasn't that fast. But the thing is, you didn't know what to expect. Like, it was nothing eventually, you'll get it was, and there was more racing because my dad used to sign me up to do open and class, so there was more chances of doing motos and racing and then bringing more experience, because at the end of the day we brought, and my dad was wanting to do like more experience and get a little bit more laps in at a higher level. So it was fun. And now I remember, and I told my wife, because like she's pretty focused about eating well and everything like that. Don't get me wrong, me too, but with my kids and everything that she reads, what's good, what's bad. And I told her, like, you know what? I remember now why I know like all the fast food. I remember Denny's, Popeyes, Wendy's, McDonald's. And I'm pretty sure like my dad, YouTube was the easiest way, was doing something fast food.
Sure.
And then then going to race, because it was me and him. So and I was like, and I was okay. But I mean, I remember. I mean, it was a good time. I remember doing a lot of mini golfs here. You do some stuff that we didn't have back home. Go karting, mini golf. We did some fun stuff. We used to definitely do the amusement parks once the racing is done. But yeah, I think in a way, and I tell everybody, me having a longer career and just staying around was because they always put, there was always something to look up. I think until now, I'm a rider that I would train because there's a race. I'm not a rider that would love to train for not having to race. I like the challenge of lining up and still competing. Right. And I think that was since I was a kid. It got me motivated that I was gonna go, like you said. How do I see it traveling overseas? Well, I love coming to the States and racing, and then just not even knowing who I'm gonna race, if there's a new rider who's gonna show up, because I didn't know But it was more also the new track, the surface. I remember the Florida surfaces where everything was clay, orangey and all that stuff. We didn't have that back home. Right. The humidity was definitely something that hit me pretty hard when I was racing. I used to do South Park. I used to come here and do South Park as well. I used to love that track and race and the humidity, and it was just something different, But it's great memories that I had, traveling with my dad when I was I was growing up into the sport.
That's awesome. I want to jump into a vet pro class real question.
Oh, okay.
Are you good with that?
I was just going to say, so I guess we could take mine and go there.
Okay, go ahead.
Sponsors. When did you start getting a sponsorship?
Yeah, great question, Chris.
Back, I was in Ecuador, there was no sponsorship. I think it was more like whatever. My dad would try to find like private company sponsors that would support me and stuff. But let's say we will always buy bicycles or helmets and everything like that. The best thing we used to got was maybe like, hey, I'll give you whoever had the rep of, let's say, Haro will give me the price of the bike that it cost him. So let's say if he got it for $1,000, then that's how much I was gonna pay. My last junior year, I got world number 4, and then I got picked up by One Bicycles. So that was my first time that I got, let's say, a free bike, helmet, everything like that. So let's say when I transitioned to 18, 19, so my first year elite, I got everything. I started getting, the full bike, the gearing was sponsored by Nike, the helmet.
You're paying, though. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want people that are listening to know you're getting the gear, you're getting the bike, but you're still financially on the hook to like get to the races and pay for them. Yes or no?
When I was, let's say, so 100%, because like when I finished junior man, like let's say 18, finishing World 4, I got that sponsorship. So for me at that time was like amazing, we're not going to pay a bicycle or anything like that. But then I also knew, and in my mind was, I'm gonna go to university and just study, and that's about it, because I didn't see anything else going after BMX, because there was no support. I didn't feel like my dad had to like put more money. It was about time for me to take a direction of like, okay, I gotta go study, because there's never been support for BMX because it's not an Olympic sport. That was basically in our country. It's like, hey, would you mind, the federation, would you mind helping me with the ticket? No, it's not an Olympic sport, So eventually got into Olympics, and I was super. I was always super sincere, and I did tell my dad, like, listen, if I don't make the junior man worlds, I have no chance of being a good elite rider. Just because, I mean, if you're good in a junior, eventually you're gonna be good at elite.
Right.
And I remember he called my mom in Holland, and I think he calls, hey, I got some good news. your son made the main. The bad news, he's not going to retire for sure. Because like, in my mind, he was like, I think they've, between spending and all the stuff and maybe injuries and the whole thing, they were like, and then I got home and I started studying university. I started studying dentistry at that time, and it got named an Olympic sport. And then I got an invitation for the UCI Center in Switzerland in 05.
Nice.
So let's say that's when I got paid to go racing, and I didn't cover, UCI, they brought in different teen, junior and until 21 years old to the UCI 3 months course, and they picked up like 15 riders. And what they were trying to do is grab countries that are not developed and try to take them to the Olympics. So from those 15 riders, they kept 4. And from those 4, 3 of us made it to Olympics.
So you went there. Excuse me. You went there. You're living there, right?
Yes.
How long was that?
So first year in 05, I went 3 months, and I got to experience, just for the first time ever, just riding bikes, just waking up and just training, nothing else. Because before I was always school and everything like that, and I got into a university and tried to like do everything.
Yeah.
And then UCI was the first year I wake up, eat, sleep, train.
This is BMX all day, every day, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you did this for 3 months, right?
I did it for 3 months. We did the Euro rounds. We did the Euro rounds as well. It was awesome because as well, it was the first time, that they just told us, pack your bags. We're going to leave this. You had everything ready, and you didn't have to worry about anything else. Where we're stopping, the food was covered, the hotel,
right? Okay.
The racing entry fees, everything. It was a really, really nice experience. The setup that we had, and then eventually it ended in the 2005 Worlds in Paris, France. That's where we end up the course, and everybody would go home.
But
so
this was leading up. I'm sorry. This is leading up to help with the Olympic part of it, or the world part of it.
Well, it was they were doing it was always a 3 months thing that they were doing, and they were, what they did, the UCI will send letters to federations, and I'm saying like most of South American federations will get it, and then they'll send like their top athletes that they consider that they fulfill everything, and then they had to choose. The UCI will choose, and then you'll eventually you'll get picked up, and then you'll go over there. They'll have a room. They'll have your a city bike, a track bicycle, a velodrome, and you'll bring your bicycles, and then they give you the UCI and gearing that they were sponsored by Nike at that time. And then I think we did like 5 Euro rounds, and then everything ended up in Worlds. After that, you went home, and I kind of experienced. I tell everybody that's when I realized I really wanted to do it professionally, because it was just it was exhausting. It was tiring. It wasn't like when you think about the UCI, it wasn't that I had my own room with my own bathroom and all that stuff. The room that we had was super small. You just had like the to brush your teeth, and then like the bathrooms were like in the same floor, and then the showers was a community shower like for the floor. And you had to transport yourself with a city bike, and it was the same breakfast every day, and lunch was served at that time, and a dinner at that time, and it was like the same day. It was a repetition through 3 months. Wow. I did enjoy the way of definitely having a routine. That's something that I really enjoy, because when I went home, at that time I picked up my first, let's say the UCI coach at that time. He became my personal coach, so he will send me the program, and I will do it. I mean, I realized I was never a kid who if I had to lift X amount of weight in the gym, and I didn't need anybody to tell me. I could do it myself. I had to do 10 sprints. I will do them. It was raining, whatever. I did everything on my own, so I knew that I had this this drive of myself to just keep on doing it myself.
Right.
So that's when I kind of started becoming professional, but still with like I said, we didn't know where it was going. We didn't know how I was going to qualify. We at that time, I think nobody knew exactly how many points you're going to need. Everything was fairly new.
Oh, for the Olympic qualifying.
For the Olympics, that was the ultimate. Like if I tell everybody, like if I didn't retire at that time specifically, it was because I saw that I could qualify for the Olympics. Because at that time I never saw anything about like, okay, I'm gonna come here and race in the States professionally. There was no Ecuadorian who did it. I know there was maybe three South Americans who were doing it at that time, who was Javi Colombo, Christian Besserin, and then Mario Soto was the other one who at that time were Mario Soto, I think, passed away already. But it was Christian and Javi who were doing it, But for Ecuador, there was nobody who actually just opened up the door and said, here's how you do it. So for me, it was more, I'm gonna try to qualify this. We didn't know how I was gonna do it. Nobody knew, but I mean, right. I was lucky enough to get the support of the UCI Center at that time, and then being brought up every year until maybe 07, end of 07, October 07. I went for a full year until the Olympics. So I never. Oh wow! I basically spent Christmas, New Year's, everything like that until I qualified. I just I was really. I just I have this shot, and I'm just gonna try to make it.
So
wow, that's really something.
They brought you guys there, and you did your thing. You saw that moment. You want to do it pro, and wow, like the fact that UCI is tapping into the federations. The question I want to dive into, right? So UCI is tapping into your federations and bringing you over there. I know this is going to be a question that'll be asked in a minute in the chat. How come they're not tapping into the USA and taking USA BMX riders over there to do the same?
I think the UCI idea at that time was not they see as a first world country, the USA, okay. And they had such a high level, the US. So they were like, we want to bring, you think about it, at that time, a South African went there, which was Ifiso, Samantha Cruz, which was the Canadian girl, but she was racing around the States. And Ivan Lapraz was the other Swiss guy who didn't qualify, and it was myself who actually, it was our four that we stayed at the end, and then three of us made it to the Olympics. So, but they were trying to, they were more like supportive into trying to get Venezuela, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and trying to get this. And their philosophy at that time was trying to get you into the world's biggest stage race, which is the Olympics, and then let you go. Once you qualify, then you can, because there was an age limit as well. I think at that time was like either 22 years old, maximum or something like that. So after that, they just wanted young, that they would try to get you as fast as you can, get into the world, and then after that, you just you're on your own. So that was basically what they were. I think it's changed. I know now it's changed because I see they pick different. I've seen different countries that I think they have great level right now at the moment. But I also, I will see. I don't know, if I'll see that right now, somebody that they can pick up, maybe Sean Day. I can see if Sean Day reaches out to the UCI. I can see the UCI maybe picking him up and taking him to some European races and see where they can take him. I can see that. They're more open to that opportunity. At that time, they were more. Tyler Brown went the first year with us, and I think that was because I think he did it before, and he had a great relationship with our coach at that time. But they never did it again. They never brought anybody in 2006, 2007, or 2008. No.
Okay. Probably because of USA Cycling, so they had that. But I think the smaller countries like in Ecuador, Colombia. This is just my opinion. I don't know this. It sounds like the UCI was trying to bring some of these other countries into the Olympics so that there were more countries in the
just
field.
Think about that, man. And what Emilio's talking about, they're putting them up in a place to stay. They're feeding you guys. That's an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah,
and then taking them to the Euro rounds. So, I was going to ask this before you transitioned into where you're at kind of now in your timeline where you're doing the UCI thing leading up to the Olympics. And what that question was is you had talked about back home, you would travel and you had just kind of mentioned the United States, the Christmas Classic, Were there any other countries in that time frame that you were traveling to? And then we'll jump back into your timeline where you're at with the kind of the UCI thing.
Yeah, I used to do the Pan American Championship always, which is one race a year.
Okay.
Wherever it was at, it was mostly it was South America, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador sometimes had it, Chile, and then definitely Worlds, and then just the USA Nationals.
Okay.
Just those were at those events were the ones that we actually used to do it. My dad always, I think, I should ask my dad, but my dad, I think, always believed, racing here was, because like I said, when you go to racing the Pan American Championship, it's one race. So let's say you travel, you got one chance. If you did well, amazing. If not, my dad was more of, here you have maybe 3 days of national, where Friday, whatever you do, then you correct it, you do Saturday, and then you do Sunday. So you're doing a bunch of laps, and if you sign up for doing open, there's a lot more racing. So you get more of the investment of money that you're gonna spend between traveling and all that stuff. You're gonna race more. You're gonna have more options as well. That's what he was trying to do, I think, and that's why I tell everybody now. If you're gonna spend same amount of money going to racing to one race event, just come to the States and race. You got 3 days, and there's more racing. You can do the open, you can do the class, and then you have like 3 days, which BMX how it is. You have to have a little bit of luck. If Friday was not your day, then Saturday it could be your day. If you go to another race with just one day, that day wasn't yours, then that's it.
True.
Look, we aren't even halfway through this show, and I just want to tell you, this is one of the most interesting interviews, the funnest time, and there's so much that I already be like, look, here's your teaser, ladies and gentlemen. As long as you're going to come back, we're going to do Moto 2 and 3, because your timeline in this sport is amazing.
34 years.
Well, yeah, but it's you at a level that so many people do not stay at. So we've been talking now for almost an hour, and
almost
we haven't even got to your Olympics yet. All right, you're a baller, and I'm floored to have you on, man, because what we're talking about is there's so many people love to hear this, and if you guys got questions, please put them in the comment section on whatever media you're on right now. If you're over on YouTube
or
Facebook, Twitch, whatever, put them in. I want to relay them because you are breaking this down so well. And it's very enjoyable.
I think we'll just kind of take our time and kind of
just sit back,
not try and get to everything.
No, there's no way we can't.
We're gonna have to have you back.
Yeah, we got to.
Right.
Because
I'm
leading.
Happy to be back.
Yeah, and I mean, you're still competing now. So here's the hop in the timeline that we're going to go back to as they do it in teasing. You're still competing at a high level, FYI. But in the timeline where we're at right now, you're at 2005, 2006, leading up to the first
BMX Olympics.
First BMX Olympics, man. So you're this kid that, you've done an excellent job of giving us a description of and taking us along on this ride from this, small country that you've done. And I mean, I have to tell you and commend your parents. Kudos to them. Right. Kudos to Dad for taking you. Because look, I did those Christmas classics a few times, and I only came down from Michigan to Columbus, Ohio, where you went to, and you came all the way from another country. Yeah. Which, look, let's be honest, Ohio is kind of another country. That's my jab. That's my little jab. But
wait, you're leaving the country in a couple of days then?
Well, I'm leaving Michigan, going to another one. But that is wild to think. I don't know. I kind of remember the years I was there. We probably never brushed shoulders, but to think you were there all the way from another country.
Ecuador.
These are the things that a lot of riders and people that listen to the show don't think about. That was happening then. People came from other countries. We only think about this now because of World Cups and the fact that the international standards of racing has now been introduced into the United States, right? So we understand what U23 is, junior men. We understand the World Cup format, and then what leads to the Olympics. But this was happening a long time ago, and it was happening in those like heydays, and that people like to harken back to. So that's wild. You've been a 7-time Pan American champ in the amateur division, like junior men twice. Like, kudos to you. And you're telling us the story on how in like 2005 you're being housed by UCI and you're training, and they're giving you this glimpse of what day-to-day professional BMX racing looks like, which we've done 216 shows plus many more.
Plus more.
And we've interviewed everyone from, the 80s, 70s, 90s, and very, very few people truly know what that is. And a lot of times, like, it just kind of happened. Now you're telling us the story that's structured. So, like, you're now, here's a structure. You're doing it day to day. Right. Tell us what it was like leading up to that time that you were selected to represent your country for the inaugural Olympics in Beijing in 2008.
Well, it was, when I remember when it was getting closer to it, well, first of all, when I decided to do it, it was, I had to drop university for sure, because like the dean of dentistry told me, like, listen, you're missing some classes because you're racing a lot. And it's like, and he talked to me. He's like, hey, look, what do you want to do right now? Do you want to go to Olympics or you want to be a dentist? I was like, I was 20. I was like, I want to go to Olympics. Like, let's just do it. Your year's not gonna get back. You're not gonna get younger. So just go try it. I thought that was the hardest thing. The hardest thing was telling my parents. I was like, hey, and I told them, and it was, like I said, it was a 50 chances that I will make it, 50 chances that I will not make it. But I've always kind of lived into this perspective of saying, like, I don't want to leave and saying, what if? I should have tried. I just, wanted to go all in. If I failed, I failed, but I gave it my best shot. So luckily, when this whole transition happened and I eventually qualified, was for sure a dream come true, because I had like a long setup in 2007 from an injury, in the hand injury. But I think since 2007, I had a long injury. Like and eventually I went to the UCI Center end of 2007 to keep on preparing, and then qualifying, and then making my first World Cup main in 2008, and to qualifying and getting your name announced that I was going to go. I think we didn't know what to expect. I was never in an Olympic village. Everything I remember, like, just didn't have that much support from Ecuador. So I remember they called my federations, hey, who's the cyclist who qualified? Because there was no road biker, no mountain bike. It was BMX. It was a BMX rider, the only guy who was actually going to qualify. And say, hey, tell him he has like $36,000 for support. And then it was 2 months out of it, the Olympics. But I had to make a list of what could I spend this. So I would make a list, and they say no. So eventually I probably just spent $10,000 and then just bought a new bike and some parts and SRM cranks for it. And but I mean, the training was amazing, to be honest. We had a group where the three of us were locked in, just training. I had a great coach, Herbie Cripps, at that time. He'll make us train at time difference, same schedule, how it was going to be, same thing, routine, qualifying laps, just being super focused and doing some laps. Luckily, at the UCI Center was one of the first facilities who had a supercross hill, so we were able to train properly there. And it was an amazing experience, to be honest. It was a dream come true. It was also, I think, for my parents, I speak for my parents, both of them never missed the Olympics. My mom was not that much going to the races. She'll go whenever she could. And I still remember, I think, when she went and see the Olympics, that was probably the first time she saw in real life the Supercross hill, how big it was. And I think she looked at it like, oh my God, what is this? Like how insane this thing is, how big is this? I don't think she watches that much races. And I know that because sometimes she's been in races with me back, and I've done amazing, and she'll come and hug me and say, how did you do? Like, she's happy because she sees me, I'm happy, but I think she doesn't see it. She just goes up on the back and pray or something like that. But it was an awesome experience being in the Olympics, getting the Ecuadorian, all the uniforms you get, with Olympic rings and the credentials, all the logistics that you understand. But for me, everything, I think I was too young mentally for it, because everything was too big. I was impressed of the size of the food court. I was impressed of seeing Rafael Nadal there. I was just like crazy. I wanted to get a picture with him. I saw Kobe Bryant just got in after they wanted and trying to get McDonald's, but he had to leave immediately because he was just getting so many athletes that wanted to take pictures with him. Wow. I think I couldn't sleep anything the day before. That was the first time I couldn't sleep anything. And I remember probably that's why I say that I was young mentally in a way for this, and not maybe prepared mentally just for the size of the event, because I couldn't eat that day that much. And I still remember doing my first time trial, my left foot was shaking. Like I was in the gate and just my left foot was shaking. And it's never happened to me. I mean, I get nervous, but never to that extent. And luckily we had a second lap, but I had to, I think, to do the first lap to lose all that all the nerves that I had in. And then eventually it came in natural. And I was happy that we had time trials one day, because that's where my first lap, everything went out. And then the next day I raced pretty well, I think. I was just unlucky. I got like a third in the first round, a fifth in the second round, and then I crashed in my last round. And I think somebody tied me in points, and that's why I didn't move after. But I was content with my result for having a 2007 with a lot of setbacks for an injury. But definitely when I closed that chapter, I knew I was going to make it to the next one. I mean, for me, it was just like, this was an experience, and I know 4 years from now, I know what to come for. I know how to get, the points. I know how to qualify. But it was different. I was 21, and then you had riders like Robert Dewall, who's 33 at that time. Christian, the heavy hitters were actually older. That was
I remember.
It was like kind of like now when you go to Olympics right now, where they just went, like the heavy hitters were the older class now. So it was kind of like what Beijing was. The difference, like, Mary's won it at 21 at that time in Beijing. Yeah, he was a reigning world champion. He won it super young, but I think the top riders at that time were older, than the younger riders that we were with, maybe just. But I think for me it was a dream come true, because even if I didn't got the medal that everybody who goes and race, that's what you try to achieve. I think since I had to take a chance of saying no to this, and in Ecuador, the logistics of life, I want to say, it's you study, you go to university, you get a job, you get married, you have a kid. And then you start traveling whenever you make money. So I actually used to tell everybody, like, I decided to go on a different route. And a lot of people were saying like this, I mean, he's crazy. I mean, he stopped university. He might not even qualify. He's going to get into this sport that, that he doesn't even know he's going to qualify. And for me at that time, it was just more trying to achieve this kid's dream, because I have this thing that my mom, which is crazy. I'm gonna show it.
Yeah.
So she has this homework that I did in school, where it says my future, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna read it. So it says, for my future, I want to keep on winning races and to live with my family in peace. I want to be a dentist when I am big. I want to win an Olympic Games when they make the BMX official in the Olympics, and to be a better boy. I think I won the Pan American Championship, and I was probably 11 or 12. So for some reason, I had this idea that BMX was going to become Olympics at some point, So
yeah. Holy cow.
That's something that I have there, because it was just something that I wrote it out like maybe 11 or 12 years old, without not knowing that it was going to become an Olympic sport. And eventually, like 6 years after, it became an Olympic sport. Wow. And I was able to be one of the first riders ever to be there for Ecuador. And then I think it was, I have a bunch of souvenirs. I have everything from the Beijing. My mom went. When she went, I think she bought everything that she could from Beijing. I still have my helmets, my goggles, everything. And it's such a nice event, because all the brands that you're with, they do this how you see, like that time One Bicycle was with UFO. So they made like Ecuadorian gloves, the pants. I had the helmet spray painted, especially the goggles that I use, everything was just special edition for these only Olympics. I had like the Nike Clip shoes that we got, like the black and gold, like all that stuff was special. It's just like I tell everybody, just probably 1%, like maybe 1% of people who qualify, or people who actually make Olympics, that practice BMX will make it to Olympics.
Yeah, but
it's
man, you got to be part of the first one. Like, I mean,
that is so cool.
Just me as a fan and a participant, I remember the very first Olympics, and it was in the States. It was on so late at night, okay, like almost like morning. And my people that follow the show, Emilio, this is new to you, but not to the people that follow the show. Like, my family owned bars. So, like, 2 o'clock in the morning is, kind of just the end of the day for most people when you own a bar. So I remember, like,
closing time.
It was, I think it was 3:30, and I remember closing the bar for my mom, and like Mom and I had a date. We're going to watch BMX because she was like, I was playing hockey, and BMX is this thing I transitioned into later. So we're like, we're going to watch it, right? Because it's an Olympic sport. I remember Bob Costas is like, we're going to go out to this sport called, and there was like a pause, a very pregnant pause, because like he was like, what do I say? And it was like, we're going to go watch BMX. And like my mom and I sitting in the living room at like, I don't know, somewhere between 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, when most people are asleep in the Midwest. And just Clara and I watching BMX racing and Morris winning from gate 8. Like, it was the coolest thing. And I remember that. And I can't imagine for yourself as a competitor, someone that got to be there in the first Olympics.
It was amazing. Yeah,
I remember that part, and I didn't even go. I just watched it on TV.
Yeah.
Well, how it went, I was lucky enough to be in the UCI Center because at that time, Johan was the one who was doing the IOC wanted. Yeah. They were doing some, I think after they finished the Olympics, they tried to see what is the ages of people who are actually watching the Olympics. And they were seeing that most of the people who were watching the Olympics, they're not the kids anymore.
No,
they were
I
more
wasn't.
Into the stages where they couldn't, they want to promote the sport and they want you to pick any 100%. Sport. But that's why how BMX was presented, like, let's bring a sport that will bring the younger community to watch it. And maybe, they were waiting BMX, but you see, I don't know, tennis before that. And then just like maybe the kid wants to do tennis, but he'll watch BMX as well. So how Johan presented, that's how he got in BMX, a professional sport, explosive, super competitive. You gotta be perfect to actually win a lap. And then he just started making the supercross, and then eventually he wanted to be an extreme to professional sport. That's how he got in. Yeah. And I think after the Olympics, because I went back to the UCI the next year, they said that it was like the event that was watched the most. Yeah, I think when it did Beijing, so it was a success for them to keep on doing it. And I think now that's why they're bringing in more, like, the skateboarding and the BMX freestyle and all those new events that are coming in. It's just because they want the younger community to actually be watching the sports. And eventually, like I was, because I was telling my wife, like, I remember when I was a kid watching when the speed walking guy from Ecuador won it in 1906. So definitely I was watching the Olympics. I definitely didn't want to do speed walking when this guy won it, but maybe I watched another sport that I was intrigued and I liked it.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense, like all these sports that are brought in, and then
like breakdancing.
So to get the younger kids, I was with my kids here when I was like, hey, let's watch the Olympics to try to see if they will pick up any other sport that they like.
Well, how old are your kids, by the way?
So I got Emiliano, which is 9, Enzo, that's 4, and then Ezekiel, he's 2.
Nice. How many of them are racing?
2. The 4-year-old and the 9-year-old.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. You bring up something where you're saying how watching a sport, and I think to myself, like, I remember, like, I had these sports that I watched, but then somebody would say something, or maybe it got popular, and you would, kind of watch that other sport. And by 2012, you know, when BMX hit London, I remember like a wild change because like we live and breathe the sport, right? And obviously we've been doing a live stream podcast for 4.5 years. You dedicated your entire life to it. So we get like, and most of the people watching, right, they're going to know, like we saw the change where suddenly like the media here shifted the play time for the event to prime time, right? And I can remember watching it like, wow, like this is like, it's not at 3 a.m. It's now, you know, in a time that is consumable by people. And if you remember, it came where like the online stuff and streaming was leading. So like you had that option.
Just starting.
Yeah, it was just starting. I remember like sitting there. I mean, I don't work for that company anymore. Totally played hooky and just sat around the house the whole day watching BMX. And it was like totally different than how that format is now, where, you know, it's like in a window. They've done really good with the production package, but like it was different then because it was kind of you know, you had your time trials and this and that. Like, I called in for 2 days to watch the whole thing. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, it's BMX-itis. I don't know what. I don't know. It's BMX-itis. So you've seen this from the first to the second to the third, and then just now the fourth, man. Like, and I just want to put an asterisk on where we're at, Emilio, because when you come back on again, if you do, like we're gonna pick up on your journey. You know, from Beijing to London, but like I really want to get some opinions from you on the overall arcing of these things, and like also I got to make sure you plug your sponsors and things like that. So, but like from that '08 to what we just watched, man, what's your biggest takeaway in the? And look, like the footage, the filming, we get it. But like for you, what's like when you watched it this year, like, wow. What was the wow moment for you? And a person that has been part of how many Olympic Games?
Well, I did the Beijing and London, and the Rio was the alternate.
Okay.
And so, so I think I like as you know, because you watch it and the program was quick, right? You as somebody sitting there, you want to watch them go again, right? You as a rider, you want to have your break. You definitely don't want to go again. You know, it was like like a super fast. I think it was good that they did it in this track because it was a short track. I think in a longer track was gonna be a lot of, you know, whoever had the best endurance was gonna be showing up in the main. But to be honest, I think, you know, BMX always has some guy who, and especially in the Olympics, who got in the podium, just, you know, riding smarter and then grabbing a better turn and everything, which I love it, and it's part of BMX. But when I talked about who deserved getting on that podium, I mean, there was no other those French dudes that deserved getting the first, second, and third. I mean, they're being on top of their game. And then when somebody asked me, like, I was like, well, eventually, if it's a different sport, you know, like, you know, track and field or something where you just, you know, you have your rider, how you run your marks, you know how usually they should be ending like the first, second, and third. You know, BMX is not like that. So I want to say that it's, for such a big race, it's probably one of the biggest race it is, but it's also a race, you know, that they ended up, the guys who got the gold, silver, and bronze were in the top of their game. They've been on top of their game for a while. And me as a fan now, I enjoyed seeing that. I enjoy seeing them getting the results they wanted. I think it was for sure crazy since they were having it was at their home country as well. I see that's like for them is a dream come true. I think I like the purple turns, to be honest, like how like the image and everything. I really like like how they changed the track from like what it was before to the turns right now. Definitely, I want to say I like the show going that quick, to be honest. I really like when I saw the program and see how fast it was gonna go. I I sat down and, in my part, I believe it was done too soon. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the Olympics are done anymore.
Right.
I don't believe like the Olympics were done so quick. It was just so crazy that I was expecting it for just knowing who was going to go for each country to basically knowing that it was done in such a quick, 2 days. Great racing, I want to say. I think the only guy that I want to say was missing for me, my idea, it was Larson to be in the main. I think he really deserved to be in that main. But he's young as well, and I think he showed up to race. But then the rest of them, I think it was just I want to say Carlos Ramirez was also one of the guys I wish I would have liked to see him in the main. But I like the whole program for you to be an spectator, and then if you would pay your tickets to go sit down and watch the event, they're going back at it without not such a long break. Because I know as a spectator and then somebody who doesn't know BMX, that's when we were thinking about sometimes like, well, you're getting 30-35 minutes break. That's a lot for sitting down without watching anything for some people. So I think they did a great job in having the spectators on their they're going back again. You didn't have that much time to even think about what was going. They're back again. And then I really like the three motos every time because you gotta be consistent. It's not.
Yep.
You gotta be consistent. That's why the guys who made the main were on their A game that day. And also I really like the LCQ. I was super nervous when that LCQ went because it was. I mean, there's only 4, and then all of them were really good. All those 8 riders. Any of those could have made it through. Watching the LCQ, I think I was super nervous watching the LCQ because I didn't know who was going to make it. I saw the names of them, and man, it was good racing. I was super sad for Carlos going out that way. But the guy from Chile, I mean, he took his chances of it. That's why it calls last chance. You take your last chance to make it through. If not, it's just one lap. And I think if the Olympics would have gone into that format, maybe 1 quarter, 1 semi, 1 main, there would have been more crashes. I think it was a nice Olympics, not seeing that many crashes as well. I think also they have an experience, and then they can do some analyzing from us when we started. If you go back and see our first Olympics, there's so many crashes because you're waiting for these days so much that in my mind was like, I don't care whatever happens today. Like you're willing to crash, to not give 1 inch, to just like it's the day you've been waiting for a long time. And that's why when I went to London, I knew like, I was saying to myself, just stay on your feet, don't crash, take a 5th instead of taking an 8, because I learned that from Beijing. I was like, I got 3, 5, and 8. And the 8 was what basically took me out. So I knew like, okay, take a 3, take a 5, you have to, and then do a 4, whatever. And that's why consistency now is basically what they're trying to do now in the Olympics. And I think some of the riders are riding smarter, and then, if they take 5th, they take 5th instead of an 8. So it was not a lot of carnage compared to what I thought, because the track was small. I thought it was going to be more.
I want to ask a very loaded, pointed question, but before I do that, all right, I want to make sure that we do our chat check-in that we do for BMX Rocks, and shout out to her, Heal Up. Gonna miss you down at the Marysville National. That's kind of one of their second home tracks, but
and Mo too.
And both of those got that new canopy.
Mega design group.
Emilio, I'm gonna check in our chat real quick. There's people in there that have. There's a few people with some questions, but just a lot of people that, are really happy you're on the show. So, I want to shout out to our friend Scott Lachansky, Wrenchman Wheel Builds, Zach over there, Robert Cardoza, one of my old coworkers, Kenny Kellogg, our friend from Australia that's watching right now, Stuart Kelly, thank you. Adam Orovitz, who has a question I'm going to ask here in a few. Mike Valegs, thank you so much. Dan Douglas, thank you for tuning in. Damon Tuzin saying hi. Brian Fell, I have a question from him. I think it'll be a fun one. And Gate 9, who makes number plates and rims, checking in, and Gate 9's wife, Jen, checking in, who we get to hang out with this weekend.
The official number plate of the All Things BMX show.
Dave Cross checking in with us. You guys, if you're here and hanging out with us, put your questions if you have them. Just say hi in the chat. Our good friend over at Motor City Harley Davidson in Farmington Hills, Nick Quinn, thanks for joining us. Bill Sharp says, great show. Wanted me to direct that to you. Clay, Birdie the Cat joining us this evening, lighting up the chat room, and Chris knows who that is. Let me scroll down. So Nick has a great recommendation. I got to scroll back up for a couple questions here. First one is, Fel had a question for you. Your best Carlos Ramirez story.
First Carlos Ramirez story or racing?
Your best one, whether it's racing or hanging out.
Funny or...
He's kind of asking for a little bit of kind of behind the scenes, maybe. I know Brian.
He's. I still remember when I went to Medellin for the Pan American Championship. He was injured. I think he broke up with the girlfriend he had, so he was in a time where he couldn't find himself without BMX, and he bought this BM M3, and I remember. I went to drive one time with him, and he was, that guy he drives a car like he drives a bicycle. So you can imagine, he'll go down the hills, he'll hit him in sport mode.
Yeah. And
it was just like a video game. And I remember and then he was like, at night, he was in this group that he said, hey, do you want to go drive? Like, we're going this. I was like, no, man, like, I really, I told my wife I'm coming here to race. I don't want to call her. I prefer telling her, you know what, I got into an accident riding bikes, not in the car. So it's just like, he was like, so he loves, he loves driving. Like I said, his car, like he drives his bike. And as of racing, I think, I don't know, I'm really good friends with him. I enjoy the heart that he has every time he lines up in the gate. With him, doesn't matter if he didn't got a gate. It doesn't matter if he has a flu, if he has a fever, if he has an injury. He's still going to race 100%, and he's one of those guys who can pull through an excellent result. It doesn't matter if you see like the Tokyo medal that he got. I don't know if you ever see the post of his hematoma leg that he got from South Park. He was ready to not race that day. Like those, he couldn't train for 3 weeks, I think. They were draining that leg, and he had a lot of issues, and that's why for him, he's one of those guys that it doesn't matter what's going on with him, and he'll still show up to, make the best out of it.
And we got another question coming in from Adam Orovitz, who, if you guys haven't done it, make sure you guys follow his group on Facebook. He's doing like a great job breaking BMX down for noobs and those have been in the sport for a while. So check out Adam here. He has Emilio. Do you think it's worth being in this sport to other countries that don't have racing yet?
You know what's the difference when I think every sport every country has now, I believe, has this sport. The thing is, for every sport that's not in the US, the main thing is Olympics. So now, since it became an Olympic sport, every federation is focusing on giving budget and money for the Olympics. That's why I say it's super hard right now. What I like about here in the States is that whoever didn't qualify and how you did. Sorry, my kid just came in.
You're good, man. We love it. We love it.
However you did in the Olympics, there's a day after the Olympics. For some of the South American countries, the support is basically, that's it. You made it to the Olympics, it didn't go your well, then what's after it? What's the next race? So that's why I try to preach this to a lot of people who, like, because I coach some of the kids. I'm like, listen, you didn't qualify, it's okay. There's more races here in the States. That's why I love, even for Worlds, let's consider this thing, like I train a lot of kids for Worlds from South America, and I knew that was going to be the last race and the only race they were going to do this year. And after that, they were going to be disappearing and then going for holidays and not seeing their bicycle for a while. And I remember talking in Worlds in Rock Hill, there were some kids saying, yeah, I'm racing 2 weeks after the National. So Worlds was not like the only thing. So I think in a way, that's why the USA riders take it into a way where And I remember this thing when I was in staging. I was a kid. I will see them so relaxed and talking and having fun. And it was more like just I didn't talk to anybody sometimes in the staging because I was like, it's race day. Because I didn't race that much, and then it took me a while understanding why they had that mentality of being so calm and relaxed. Is because they race at the local tracks here, so they're already racing. Today, let's say they have practice and then they race. So racing, constantly makes them perform in a way like it's another practice and race day.
Sure.
For some of the South American countries, it's race day. So some of them outperform. They don't perform the well that how they do it. So I believe. Most of the foreigners, answering to this question, most of the foreigner countries right now, they're just focused on the Olympics. If you're Olympic material, then it makes sense. If you're not Olympic material, then it's just basically going to be a sport to have fun.
Okay. Couple other shout-outs real quick. Corner Marshall BMX. Emilio, representing great product. Our team appreciates the support, and that's coming from Corner Marshall BMX. Also, Grand Prix BMX in the house. They want to say hi.
Yeah, that's my local truck. That's my local truck. I didn't go to practice today because I had the puck because I knew I just Gustavo, the kid that I train, he's over there doing gates right now.
You can blame it on us.
But you know what?
You came to hang out with us. That's why you're.
It was funny when you hit me up with the podcast. I'm like, yeah, we're doing it in August. I'm like, oh my god, like it's so long. But I assume you had everything scheduled and everything like that. But I had it already booked, and then Grand Prix done a great job. The truck's running amazing. They've done it's surface and everything like that. It's just the best it's been.
Great,
Emilio. There's a very few small group of people we might shift the show from Wednesday night to, and I'm going to nominate you and put you in that class. So if the next time you're on the show, you have to train. This is your exemption. It's only if you're going to train a kid. Okay? Not anybody else, but if you're going to train some kids, we'll move it from we'll move it off Wednesday.
We'll work around it.
But just like Woontang, we're only doing it for the kids. Chris is a huge Woontang fan, by the way. So with that question, who's your favorite band that you like to listen to when you're getting fired up to bike ride?
I like reggaeton. Ooh, there's so many new artists,
jam.
I think, now. There's so many new artists. I like, which is the new one? Let's see. I have this one. I keep, I keep on downloading music every day, but I want to say, what's this guy? Jay Wheeler. I think I've seen a lot. There's this new one, but you got J Balvin, you got Maluma. There's a few, but I'm more of I like listening to reggaeton.
Can I tell you also, my where I'm at with that? I'm still stuck on Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankee Gasolina.
Yeah, I got to pour it on there and light it up and go.
You know what? I was listening a lot before Worlds. Queen, my dad made a really cool video, Under Pressure. So when I won Worlds, he made it with the undercover. So I was training a lot to it because this year Worlds was gonna be probably my last one. That's what I wanted.
Was it?
Well, yeah, I really wanted it to be my last one, and I really wanted to win it. I think I was really well prepared to do it. I think if it didn't rain, but I was just in my mind was I won Worlds like that with this song, and I was listening a lot with it, and unluckily, it got rained and it got stopped for us, so I ended up getting World 8 for doing a few laps. So
because
we'll see if next year everybody tells me, well, you got to do it next year, so that way it ends up properly. So we'll see.
Yeah. Do you count Bad Bunny in reggaeton?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You like him? You like that? You like that?
There's a few 3-4 songs that I think, I didn't like the first ones that he started with, but he's done a few good ones.
Dude, his first ones were fucking trash, let's be honest.
Yeah, the first ones, he's done I think he's not, maybe the last album he did, he has 3 or 4 that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Different lyrics, better beats and everything like that. The first one's not there. Yeah.
Chris is
I have no clue what you guys.
But I listen to every type of music. When I used to, Sifiso was the guy that I used to travel everywhere. So with him, it was 50 Cent and everything like that. Actually,
you can't deny Many Men by 50 Cent. That is always on a playlist. Many Men.
Well, yeah. And then you gotta think. My career number was 50. So for most of the 4 years, they used to call me. They used to call me "What's Up 50," and I watched the movie 50 Cent. And I mean, I kind of like, I like the music. I like his story about how he got shot and then he lived and then he learned how to sing again and he pursued his goals and whatever it is. So a lot of people used to like calling me "What's Up 50," not because of the song, but just the number. So I kind of embraced the number with it because that was my career number since we started. I think I've had that number until basically I got out of elite.
I have no way to afford Many Men for your intro song the next time you're on, so I'm gonna look for like a bougie instrumental, but we're gonna have that on for you, okay?
Oh, because of the copyright.
Oh my God, dude, it's rough. They're rough, man. We're coming up against the wire here, man. Like, can you believe an hour and a half just flew by that fast?
Holy cow!
I know.
That's what I told you. I love talking. Like,
no, man. Look. It's been so much fun.
All we got was to the 2008 Olympics.
We only got to the 2008 Olympics. It's been
we talked a little bit about these Olympics. So
we
did
a
little as well.
We did, and I didn't even get to ask you like the fire questions, which I'm going to dock for the next show because what we call that is a teaser. But I want to say again, thank you so much. We gotta talk about who's going to be on next week, and then I want to come back and give you the full screen for shout outs. So Chris, you want to let them know who's going to be on next week?
All right, here we go. Gus,
just say Profile Gus.
From Profile Gus is going to be on next week. How's that?
That's good.
I thought, isn't his last name Landis?
No,
isn't it
Lanzaletti?
I was close.
Yeah.
Hey, I got the L part right.
Yeah, it was good, too.
At least I wasn't talking about his birthday, so it'll be all right. So Gus from Profile will be joining us next week.
You understand that Gus is going to crush you.
Why?
For not running their cranks, right?
Well, okay.
Yeah.
We'll hash that out.
There's one crank in BMX you race, right?
Yeah.
Profile. You're welcome.
Okay. Actually, I've never had a Profile. I have. My brother did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, though?
What?
I'm on the fence.
Uh-oh.
So that's why I had to bring Gus in next week.
Oh, so he can talk about the new aluminum?
He's got to sell me on it. You want to know why?
Because you're about to buy some.
His sponsor that's on the show right now, Technique.
Oh.
Those Technique cranks are fire, Emilio.
I run them, yeah.
I
run them. I've been with them like 2 years and a half, 3 years. But back in the day, they were, you either when you were young, you either had the Black Widow, the Odyssey ones, the square taper, and then when you got older, Technique.
That my man knows.
Yeah.
He's right in my pocket right there.
That's your deal.
Yeah. I made fun of my friends. They were buying that Odyssey Black Widow. I was like, get that dog shit out of here. It's going to strip out for racing. Like, it was okay for park riding. I put it on my park bike.
That's probably more of a park
well, maybe not. But, like, man, I had a set of – I was just telling Bill's wife, I'm like, man, I got to relive my youth. Just send me an invoice. I don't care what it costs. Get me a set of them because I got to relive my youth. And
they have such a cool colors now. We built one for one of our elite riders. Like he has a green and purple bike, and we built him purple cranks and everything. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, and they got options.
You need to get them to go with these bad boys. That's what you need.
No, I can't do red and red.
Oh, come on. Nobody else has that.
I don't want red and red.
Okay.
They've got way more options.
Oh, do they?
The problem is the one I want is purple because that's what I had when I was a young buck.
There you go.
And I have nothing on my bike that's purple.
Oh, that's true. It would look a little.
Emilio
fun.
knows that frustration.
What bike you run?
One that was given to me, both frames. Mongoose.
What? Mongoose?
Yeah.
Okay.
My friend worked there.
Okay.
And he got me a hookup on a cruiser and a 20-inch frame.
You got a bro deal.
I got a bro deal out of the world, and especially for a guy that just does a podcast show. I love them. I do. I mean, they are amazing frames.
They ride good for you, don't they?
But there's no purple on them, and to relive my youth, that was I had that on my. Do you remember back in the day the TNT Hawa Fong Daddy?
Yeah.
With the wild. Yeah. So I had that frame.
How do you say that?
Hawa Fong Daddy.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. The Super Fong and the Hawa Fong. I might be pronouncing it wrong. In Shiawassee County, it was a Hawa Fong Daddy. And what it was, it had that weird. Emilio, remember like the extra tubes and all that? Yeah. So like we'll look it up because I know you're like he's full of shit.
I'm not. That was my when I was gone from the sport period.
Yeah. No, it was. It would have been. It would have been that pocket of time for real. But it was like this wild like thing. And I remember getting I'm like, yeah, I love it. But then I bought the Purple Technique cranks. Because they were just these fat aluminum crank arms, and I'm like, I'm a fatty, so I had to have them back then. Like I had to have them, and I loved those cranks. And I was telling Bill Swank, yeah, I got to relive my youth, but I have to pick the right color out because I'm at that age. It's not about how fast I race; it's how good I look. Not making the it's how good I look. Well, not making the main.
They have purple stems. Technique has purple stems. So you can do that. The purple stem with you got purple bolts. You got the chain rings. You can do the cranks. You can add a little bit of purple like they do. Yeah, that's how we did that. His bike, like Christian's bike. That's how we did it, like green and purple.
Maybe we can swap these red ones for some purple.
When you said Christian, was it Christian Becerra's bike?
Christian Castro.
Oh, okay.
Castro. He's elite now, but he was World 5 in U23. Mm-hmm. He finished third in the overall ranking in U23 2 years ago. So he has a great. He's a great prospect. He likes riding supercross a lot, so he's a great prospect for maybe the next Olympics.
There you go. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how you endorse your products. Do you see what he did?
Oh yeah,
Emilio, you're a champ. Like. Huh? You took that and just did an amazing job on how you can do it.
Well, that's why Bill says he has me in that position I am.
You're the man.
I'm selling. I was also a customer for a long time, so I know what just giving me and providing me with the best time and understanding and the whole thing. But they're great products. I mean the flat pedals, you cannot deny that. I was actually talking to somebody today that I was like, my times on flat sprints has improved so much from just being with the flat pedals because your foot was not going to slip.
Yeah.
Oh, your foot is going nowhere on those pedals.
Earlier, I was wearing a hat. These guys here, the Only Flats, and the guy behind the Only Flats merch asked Nick, and he has a good relationship with Nick, and he's like,
"Oh,
hey,
Nick Long?
Yeah. He's like, hey, all bullshit aside. Like, are those pedals the real deal? And I mean, if there was ever a moment in two people that know each other where, somebody could be like, no, I'm just doing it for a paycheck or for the gram or whatever. That's it. But he's like, no, they're the best pedals I've rode. And like, that's an amazing endorsement because that guy, and this, you said it earlier, he can have any flat pedal he wants, and that's what he runs. And the moment I bolted them things on, I'm like, those are Big Boy approved, not just by the name, but because of Big Boy is approving them.
Yeah.
No, for real.
Dude, those things,
you feel
the grip.
You feel clipped in. So I did.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Earlier,
the length of these things.
Monday, I was
spikes in there.
Well, it's the size of a platform also as well.
They're great.
Foot, it's just perfect.
They're wider.
That's why I gave him to Nick. I was like, listen, just try them out. Give me your intake. Because I could say one thing because I do clips, but I do some sprints with flats. I'm like,
sure.
You ride everything and you ride every flat pedal. So, and I mean, he's the best. That's the guy you're gonna listen to about what's best on flats for sure.
These things are awesome.
My old pedals were HTs. They are fairly close in the width part, but I threw them on, and I have a quota. I have to do sprints. I got to do at least 3 of them a quarter, so I can keep saying I do them. And by a quarter, I mean a quarter of a year. So every 3 months, I got to go out do a few because like every. What am I? Oh, expert.
You're an expert,
in their mid,
yes.
Closing in on 50. You just got to do a few sprints, so then you can get online and complain about BMX. So, I had to go out and set my timing system up that I bought.
Oh, you're getting all fancy.
Well, I remember I bought that thing so I could then go on Instagram and complain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason I bought it.
All right, so
I have to validate.
So we're doing sprints tomorrow.
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Get her done.
I'm not. So I set my timing thing up, and I don't even know how to use it. But the one thing I did know was
it there for the
which timers you bought? Which timer
the
you got?
skills, the SKI.
Oh, okay, the yellow with the yellow cones.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't even know how to. They're great. They're great, and I do recommend them. Like all BS aside, like I have done them where I keep track of my times and whatnot. Okay. And I got to say, like there was
it's a good deal.
Stark difference in like having real pedals you hook up to, and I'm not trying. Like, look, I don't have like nobody's paying me to run the pedals.
No,
nobody's paying me. Like I paid for them. We're good, and I love them, and they're great. Buy them, especially if you're a flat. Oh, you can be fat too, but if you're a flat pedal rider, they're some of the best ones out there.
Yeah.
Evidently, English is becoming harder and harder for me right now.
Those things are pretty sweet. Go.
Well, you're an engineer, dude. You're
what you said. Bill should start sponsoring more of the show.
Who? Bill?
You just sold the flat pedals right now. You did it better than I did.
I don't know about that.
You should do a video of how much your times improved with the flat pedals, the technique, and
look.
No,
there's one thing.
This thing once a week is enough video.
I mean, I could.
Do you still race, Justin? Do you race? You race,
yeah,
right?
no, yeah.
Oh,
I just laid off.
Do.
The reality is, Amelia, I laid off nationals, and I'm having a ton more fun. My whole goal this year was just to do the state series. I fell, broke my ribs, and I'm like, I've had the most fun in many, many years, going to nationals, or I'm sorry, going to locals, and then going to nationals and rooting my friends on. Like, I got to go and be Chris's biggest fan when he won a national at Waterford Oaks, and son of a bitch, I was almost crying. Like, I might have cried. I think my eyes sweated, but my
eyes were sweating a lot.
I got to go and watch my friends race that are really into the nationals, and I dig it. I dig nationals. I love what USA BMX does. It's just right now it's not in my pocket. I have so much fun doing doing locals, and doing the multi-point races, and then hanging out at pump tracks and at the trails. I literally have found like a new a reborn love for mild dirt jumps. Okay, mild. Like I look at those big ones and I'm like, y'all got something to warm up on, because that's where I'm gonna hang. But I got recently involved in helping Ann Arbor, Michigan, at their bike parts, like rebuild their dirt jumps, and I've had a lot of fun there. And I've actually re-fell in love with riding a bike again. And like
awesome.
So like the clips are here. So like now I have this refocus on flats and only flats and so on and so forth. And these flats are like legit, and it's been fun. I have a lot of fun now.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and to see you guys show up, and I mean, I know you weren't there, but like at Waterford Oaks when vets were like, handshake deal, let's race flats, and it transcended down to like the little kids that think they need clips, but they're watching you guys, your class, like the premier class, as we call it here on All Things BMX, because Vet Pro is like the premier class right now. To see you guys haul ass on flats and see like these little kids realize it's not clips that make you go fast. You can go fast without them. And
I was so bummed that I couldn't do that race, because I was riding only in flats, so I was using and then I raced the national, the Grand Prix, the Pro-Am, and I was winning the first day, and I got passed by Popovich. He went through the amateur, and I got second. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it next day. I'm going to win it, right? And I looked out on the first jump in Grand Prix, clipped in. And I want to say it's because I was riding flat pedals. So flat pedals, you do more, for manual and everything like that. And I just clipped in basically like the day of the race. So first day went well, and the second day I just completely looped out. And I peeled both of my butt cheeks so bad, bad. That's the reason why I canceled the trip, because I was just training for that national on flat pedals, and I was excited. We had a group chat on the Vet Pros, and I was like, "Listen, if you guys need pedals, I got the best pedals." I was just like, but I was excited. I mean, I looked forward to doing that one, but unluckily, I just made that mistake, crashed, and I just had to cancel the trip. So hopefully, we'll do another one some of the race.
Oh, it was fun.
But yeah, I watched the race. It looked super fun. The last straight that triple looked amazing. It was a big triple.
That track is so fun to ride.
I mean, you racing know, when you see it on video, it's a lot bigger in person. And watching your class go over it, and it just, I mean, we're at that point. Like it is what it is. Like people love the Vet Pro class right now.
Yeah.
So and like the practice came for the pros. It was fun to watch. Like, wow, they're working, and having fun. Because Waterford's laid out like in a weird layout.
It's different, yeah.
And people would say like, oh, it's tough to see the whole track. Well, I'm sorry, that's how it used to be. Sorry, it's not an M. Sorry, it's not a W. And it's your first time witnessing this, but like to pick an area for each practice and see. But you're at that track, you're close enough to hear, and you could hear like you guys talking like, this and this, and this is all the way from like vet to the elite women and men, that break down the track, and because it was totally different from your national scene.
Right. Like, how are we going to handle this first turn?
It was fun. It was fun. It was fun. It was
that roller before the triple looked massive. Yeah.
Hey, can I tell you what that thing is? That is a sphincter clencher.
Is that what that is?
I was worried for that one. I was like, man, you gotta hold there and then try to send the triple one. I was like, I was trying to figure out the track before going over there, because I like seeing when there's a new track that I've never ridden. I want to try to see what I have to work before going over there. I try to find a track here. Man. Like, okay, this track kind of has something similar, but there was nothing here in California I was gonna find like that one.
No.
So
nope.
And I hope that. Like they're not on 2025 national. I get it. They work to get on 2024. But I hope it comes back to where you could make it there. Cause it's awesome. Just, dude, it's a fun place. And there's many other tracks, we're not just, that was just the national I was at. So,
it's our local track right here.
And
too,
so when you're racing it locally,
going there Saturday,
you're gassed out by that last straight. And that was the thing for us. You're like, these guys and gals showing up to this aren't going to be gassed out. So it's like a different part, which, put a different dynamic into it.
It was fun.
All right, so Waterford, there's your plug. We'll pick the check up Saturday when Chris is there.
Check that one off the list.
Emilio, thanks again. I want to put the camera on you for thanks and shout outs, and plug your sponsors and plug your family.
No, I want to thank you, Chris and Justin, for having me. It's nice talking a little bit about everything BMX, my career. It's just nice, I think, giving exposure what South Americans coming here and then racing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I want to give a shout out. Like I said, my parents always being there, my family, my wife, my kids. I think right now is like the biggest support that I have. Bombshell with Bill right now at the moment. I got Gate 9, Onyx, ODI, Fox. Hope I'm not missing anybody. HT, Technique, Bassett. I think it's the same franchise, and I'm excited. Just USA BMX too. I always tell everybody that if it wouldn't be for USA BMX giving us this Vet Pro class, I don't think I'll be racing right now. I'll probably just going to the office and doing something different. The whole thing about giving us this exposure to the Vet Pros and making it fun and professional class. And then I know everybody enjoys watching us because, when I talk on the phone, it's like, hey, you're that guy that we love seeing you race with Barry. We love, the whole thing. So it's actually pretty fun, the exposure, being able to race a night show. So I just want to thank the local tracks that I ride here, and then everybody who actually supports USA BMX and everything that's in the community.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Well, thank you, and we look forward to having you on again. If you can you hang out real quick in the Zoom thing? We're gonna cut off in the show here in a second, but I want to talk to you real quick and book time for you to come back on before we hang up. And it has been a amazing show.
Fun, interesting stuff.
Great time, man.
Good stuff.
And next time he's on, we got to interview his kids.
Yeah,
right?
That would be fun.
Oh, yeah, we got to.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time. I want to thank everybody, each and every one of you that follow the show, listen to the downloads. You guys are killing it on the podcast downloads, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
That is so cool.
I got a fat check.
Did you?
Yeah. $3.19 from Meta.
Really?
Yeah, that's big time.
Dang.
Yeah.
$3.19.
I spent that on a 5-hour energy, Chris. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was going to say, what are we going to do
I
with
got to turn that into the accountant.
Okay. We got to make a note of that.
I actually had to give the lady at the gas station because I tried to give her the check from Meta.
Yeah.
And 5-hour energies are more than $3.19.
Oh, okay.
I had to make the difference up.
You had to make up the difference.
Tried to pay her in danger snacks.
Oh, that might have worked.
She wasn't going to take it as Speedway.
Danger snacks. There you go.
She was asking where Rick was, the guy that showed up with his shirt off running around yelling Thunder Midget. It's like, that dude's been home for a while.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to find the 15-pack. That's what it was.
So clutch.
Oh, bro. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Emilio, thanks for hanging with us. Everybody, Gus is going to be our guest next week from Profile. He'll be here. We're going to talk all things Profile or BMX racing. Other than that, have a like and subscribe, please, to wherever you're watching us right now. It would really help us out. We appreciate that. Have a great week, everybody. God bless you, and have a good night.